in inference kind of questions, we just need to find the option that can be concluded. Okay, the wrong options simply cannot be concluded. Okay, we can always provide a different conclusion to the wrong options. That's what we need to figure out. For example, if it says that if it rains, the plants grow longer. Okay, so rain causes long height, okay, long length of the plants. So can we say if it doesn't rain, the plant will never grow longer? Or if it rain, if the plants grow longer, it rains, or if the plants don't grow longer, it doesn't rain. Okay, this is given. This is simply stated in the passage itself. So out of these three, what can be concluded, or what can be inferred, and what cannot be inferred? For example, if it doesn't rain, the plants don't grow longer. Can we say that? No. Maybe there could be other reasons why plants grow longer. It could be use of fertilizers, or it could be different kind of sunlight. Okay, there could be different reasons why fertilizers and sunlight can make the plants grow longer. So this would be out. Okay, we can always conclude something different here. Okay, third, if the plants grow longer, it must have rained. Again, plants might have grown longer because of other reasons also, so it may not be just because of rains. Okay, so maybe the plants have grown longer again because of fertilizers or because of other factors like sunlight. Okay, so the passage simply says if it rains, plants grow longer. So rain is one of the factors. Okay, it doesn't say that plants grow longer only if it rains. That's not the language. Third, if the plants don't grow longer, it doesn't rain, or it must not have rained. So can we prove otherwise here? That means if plants have not grown longer, it has rained. Can we say that? No, because the passage explicitly says if it rains. So if it had rained, plants definitely grow longer. Okay, so if it has rained and plants did not grow longer, that cannot happen. So this is something that we'll conclude, that if the plants don't grow longer, it must not have rained. That's the right inference. So anything in the option which is not justified, or which can be justified the other way, that'll be wrong. So we'll eliminate options which cannot be justified. Okay, and even one word can make the statement or make the option right or wrong. Let's see. In an experiment, 2-year-old boys and their fathers made pie dough together using rolling pins and other utensils. Each father-son pair used a rolling pin that was distinctively different from those used by the other pairs. Okay, and each father repeated the phrase rolling pin each time his son used it. When the children were asked to identify all of the rolling pins among a group of kitchen utensils that included several rolling pins, each child picked only the one that he had used. So which of the following inferences is most supported? Option A, children did not grasp the function of a rolling pin. Now, can it lead to this conclusion? The children picked only the one that he has used, the child. So if he did not grasp the function of the rolling pin, the point here is he's identifying that exact rolling pin, not whether he knows what is the function of a rolling pin. So this is irrelevant. Let's come to C, we'll come to B later. The children understood that all the rolling pins have the same general shape. Out, this is actually opposite of what is being said. Okay, children are able to identify the rolling pins that they used. So, and it says that every rolling pin was distinctively different from the one used by others. Each child was able to identify correctly only the utensils that he had used. Only the utensils means he is not able to identify the rolling pins, he can identify only the utensils. So that's wrong. Children were not able to distinguish the rolling pins they used from the other rolling pins. This is again opposite of what it is saying. So even if you are not able to conclude that B is the right conclusion, you can eliminate all other options. Now let's see why B is the right one. No two children understood the name rolling pin to apply to the same object. So what is happening is, let's say A, B, C, D, E. These are 5 father-son pairs, and everyone is using a different rolling pin. Okay, different rolling pins means they are distinctively different. They have different shapes. Okay, they can be distinguished easily. So when this father points out a rolling pin, so for that kid, this is the only rolling pin in the world. That's what it means. Okay, for him no other object is called a rolling pin. That's why he is able to understand, or he is able to distinguish the rolling pin from other rolling pins. Okay, he doesn't know that other objects, or objects of other shapes are also called rolling pin. That's what B says, and that's the reason why he is able to pick the exact one. False chicory's taproot is always 1/2 as long as the plant is tall. So taproot is half of the length. Furthermore, the more rain false chicory receives, the taller it tends to grow. So more rains means it will grow longer. In fact, false chicory plants that receive greater than twice the average rainfall of the species' usual habitat always reach above average height for false chicory. So above average rainfall means above average length, and that will lead to above average taproot. So this is the flow given. Okay, above average rainfall, not just above average, greater than twice the normal average rainfall leads to above average length of the false chicory plant. So let's see, if 2 false chicory plants differ in height, then it is likely that one with the shorter taproot has received less than twice the average rainfall. Okay, the passage says, if you see, if the above average rainfall is there, the length will be above average. Above average doesn't mean that every plant which has received lesser rainfall will be of same height, same length, and every plant which has received more rainfall will have same height. No. Okay, 2 plants can differ in height, it's not even a problem. Okay, the point is whether it is above average height or not. If a false chicory plant has a longer than average taproot, then it is likely to have received more than twice the average rainfall. We'll discuss B later. Let's see C option first. It is not possible for a false chicory plant to receive only the average amount of rainfall and be of above average height. So more rainfall leads to more length. Okay, so what it says is, if the rainfall is not above average, the length cannot be above average. Now it's like the length depends only on rainfall. If that was the case, then this would be true, but length might depend on other factors as well, so we cannot say this. If the plants in one group of the false chicory are not taller than those in the another group of false chicory, then the two groups must have received the same amount of rainfall. Now it says if the rainfall is greater than twice of average, then the length is more. Okay, it doesn't say that if the rainfall is less than twice of average, the length would still be longer. No. So if the rainfall is less than twice the average, length can be shorter. Okay, so it's not that when the rainfall would be same, the length would be same. No, if the rainfall is more than twice the average. Okay, so if it is not that big, the difference is small, it's not that big difference between the rainfalls, the length might be same. So that's why D is out. E, if a false chicory plant receives greater than twice the average rainfall, then it will have a longer taproot than that of average site. Now what is the difference between B and E? E says greater than twice the average rainfall leads to above average taproot length, and taproot length is dependent on the length of the plant. Okay, so above average rainfall means above average length, and obviously that will lead to above average taproot because taproot is half of the length. This is the right flow given in the passage. B says if the taproot length is above average, then that would lead to above average rainfall. Okay, so the opposite or the reverse logic is not concluded. Okay, it cannot be inferred. Everyone who has graduated from top-notch high school, so every graduate of top-notch high school has an IQ of above 120. Okay, most students with average IQ above 120 get accepted to the Ivy Leagues. Okay, it says most, and all students above 150 IQ gets accepted to the Ivy Leagues. So the difference here is most and all. So the statements above true best support which of the following conclusion? Let's see. First, every graduate of top-notch high school with an IQ of 150 has been accepted. Now it says all students above 150 who apply. Okay, so if they did not apply, they might not get accepted, obviously. Okay, so it's not that if somebody graduated from top-notch high school and get an IQ of above 150, he doesn't automatically get an acceptance letter. He has to apply first. So this cannot be inferred. So if they don't apply, they'll not get accepted. If a person is a high school graduate and has an IQ of less than 100, he or she could not have been a student at top-notch high school. Now this is a trap option. The passage says everyone who graduated from top-notch school has an IQ of above 120. So if somebody has an IQ of less than 100, okay, or less than 120, let's say, he cannot graduate, but he can be a student. Being a student and passing from that institute, these are two different things. If I graduate, then I have to have an IQ of above 120. But if I have less than that, I might still be a student. Nobody stops me from doing that. This is out. We'll see option C later. D, at least one graduate from top-notch high school who has applied to at least one Ivy League university has been accepted to one of them. So it says at least one from top-notch school who has applied. The passage says most of the people with an IQ of above 120. It doesn't say all. Okay, so there could be some people who graduated from top-notch high school who have an IQ of above 120, they applied to the Ivy League schools, but it might happen that none of them get accepted. Okay, right? So because we don't know, we can't say because that all above 120 will get accepted. No, most get accepted. So maybe people from other schools get accepted. If a high school graduate has an IQ of 150 and is not attending an Ivy League school, then he or she did not apply to one of them. Now, if somebody has an IQ of above 120 and applied to it, get accepted. That's what the passage says. Okay. Now, maybe they applied to other colleges also, other schools also, and let's say they get accepted on to 4-5 different schools. Okay, but they'll attend only one of them. So it might so happen that they get accepted from the Ivy League schools, but they're attending some other schools. So they might still not attend the Ivy League school. They might get accepted. I mean, they will definitely get accepted. That's what the passage says. But attending or not attending is not fixed. This is out. C option says if a person has an IQ of 130 and is attending an Ivy League school, it is possible for him. Okay, we cannot deny the possibility. It is possible for him to have graduated from top-notch high school. So can we say it is not possible? We cannot say it is possible. Okay, so all other options were like confirmed. They were fixed. That it definitely happens or it doesn't happen. This is the only option which talks about a possibility. A recent research study of undergraduate students analyzed the effect of music on human emotions. Each of 200 participants attended at least one 2-hour concert of classical music per week over 12 weeks of their spring semester. That means everyone attended at least 12 sessions, 12 concerts. At the end of experiment, all of the students filled out a questionnaire assessing their emotional states. Based upon the results, all of the 10 students who attended the greatest number of concerts. So those 10 people attended more than 12 concerts. Okay, that's why they are more than others. Okay, because everyone attended at least 12 concerts, and these people, they attended greatest number of concerts. That means they must have attended more than 12 for sure. Okay, reported lower stress levels, okay, and higher satisfaction. Also, most of the 20 students who attended the fewest, so 20 attended fewest means 12 minimum. Okay, so 10 attended highest, 20 attended fewest. So what happens to the remaining 170? For example, let's say these 20 attended fewest, which is 12, and the remaining 180 attended 13 each. So can we say that 10 attended highest? No, that is not possible. So there should be some people who attended 13, I mean more than them but less than them. So these attended 14 minimum. Okay, and that's what option D says. More than 6 participants attended at least 14. More than 6 means, it said that 10 attended that, so they attended at least 14. 20 attended fewest, which is 12. So there is a group of people intermediate between 10 and 20, between highest and lowest, which attended 13. Number of North American children who are obese, that is, who have more body fat than do 85% of North American children their age, is steadily increasing, according to 4 major studies conducted over past 15 years. So again, this is a question which has numbers. So let's say x1 is the population, okay, and so let's say x1 was the population 15 years back, and x2 is the population right now. It says whose body fat is more than 85% of the North American children. So if we arrange all the North American children in terms of their body fat, top 15% are obese, okay, that means the bottom 85% are not obese, okay. So I mean, be it 15 years back or be it now, the definition of obese remains same. It says 15% of x2 is more than 15% of x1. Okay, number of people who are obese right now is more than what it was 15 years ago. Okay, it doesn't say percentage, it says number. Okay, so this is a simple trap they play in. So it simply means x2 is more than x1. So now 85% of x2, that means not obese people now, versus 85% of x1, obese people 15 years back. Now x2 is more than x1, so this would also be bigger. So this is our option C. Number of North American children who are not obese increased over the past 15 years. Okay, because it's not an absolute definition, absolute comparison. It's a relative thing. Top 15% are always called obese. So if total population is increasing, 15% of that, the number will also increase, and 85% of that number will also increase. If you see other options, when 4 major studies all produce similar results, these studies must be accurate. I mean, they might have, all of them might be wrong also. North American children who have been progressively less physically active. It doesn't say anything about physical activity. Okay, the obesity may be because of food habits or other things. It might not be because of the lack of physical activity alone. Over the past 15 years, the number of North American children who are underweight, it's nothing about underweight. Incidence of obesity in North American children tends to increase as the children grow older. It's not talking about whether they grow or not. Students from outside the province of Markland, who in any given academic year pay twice as much tuition as do students from Markland. So students from outside and student from Markland. Okay, so let's say students from Markland pay 100, students from outside pay double, 200. And they are traditionally accounted for at least 2/3 of the enrollment in Central Markland College. So if there are total 30 people in the college, 10 of them are from Markland, 20, 2/3 of them are outside the Markland. For the past 10 years, academic standards of the college have risen, and the proportion of students who are not Marklanders has dropped to around 40%. So right now, let's say if there are total 10 people, 4 of them are outsiders, 6 of them are Marklanders. So which of the following can be inferred? If it had not been for the high tuition paid by students from outside the Markland, the college could not have improved its academic standards over the past 10 years. Now it is linking the tuition fees to the academic standards. So there is nothing in the passage which is linking tuition fees to the academic standards. Okay, maybe the academic standards have risen because of other factors, so we can't conclude this thing. If academic standards had not risen over the past 10 years, students who are not Marklanders would still account for 2/3. So the decrease in percentage of Marklanders is getting assigned to the increased academic standards. There is nothing as such mentioned in the passage. Over the past 10 years, the number of students from the Markland increased and the number of students from outside the Markland decreased. We don't know that. Okay. For example, if you see this, if total numbers have gone down, both outside Marklanders or the Marklanders itself, the locals, both could decrease. This is out. D. Over the past 10 years, academic standards at Central Markland College have risen by more than academic standards at any other college. Now, no information is given about the other college, and it doesn't say that people from outside Marklander whose percentage has decreased, they've shifted to other colleges in Markland. It doesn't say anything like that. So this is out. E option, this is the only option, it has to be correct. Let's see. If colleges per capita revenue from tuition has remained the same, the tuition fee have increased over the past 10 years. Now let's say the tuition fee remains same. Okay. So let's say they're still paying 100 and 200. So here the total they'll be paying is 4,000 here and 1,000 here. Total 5,000. So per capita, average fee would be around 166. Here they'll be paying 800, they'll be paying 600, total fee is 1400 divided by 10 total number of people, so per capita is 140. So if the fee remains same, per capita revenue, the average fee, average revenue decreases. Okay, if you see. So if I need to keep the per capita revenue same, I need to increase the fee. That's what it says. That's the right conclusion. For a 10-month period, the total monthly sales of the new cars within the country remained constant. So let's say monthly sales are 100 for this 10-month period. Monthly sales of new cars manufactured by Marvel Automobile Company doubled, and its share of the new car market also increased. For example, so Marvel Company was selling 20 cars earlier per month. Now it is selling 40. Total number of cars getting sold remains same, and Marvel Company is selling more cars. That means its market share has gone up, obviously. At the end of this period, so after 10 months, new emission standards were imposed during the 3 months following this imposition. So after this, Marvel Automobile Company's share of the Caliston market declined substantially, even though its monthly sales within the Caliston remained constant at the level reached the last month of the 10-month period. So earlier 100 cars were getting sold. Right now also 100 cars are getting sold total monthly. Okay, but the share of this company, Marvel Automobile, has gone down. Let's say from 40 it has become 30. So others would be selling 70 now, which was 60 earlier. Okay, out of 100, 40 were sold by Marvel, so 60 must be sold by other manufacturers. And right now, because the total monthly cars remain same, so Marvel is selling lesser, so others would be selling more, which is, let's say, 70 in this case. So other manufacturers are now selling more cars. So question is, if the statements above are true, which of the following cannot be true? Cannot be true means, what is the wrong conclusion? First statement, total monthly sales within Caliston of new cars by companies other than Marvel Automobile. Now if we see, by other manufacturers, the sales have gone up. So total sales by other than Marvel Automobile companies decreased over the 3 months period. That is wrong. It actually increased. That's what we just saw. So that's your answer actually. We need to pick what is the wrong conclusion. So that's the wrong conclusion. Okay, this conclusion cannot be arrived. So the wrong options here would be something, the conclusion that can be drawn. Example, over the 3 months period before the imposition of the emission standards, the combined market share of the companies other than Marvel Automobile Company decreased. Now it might happen. We cannot say this is wrong conclusion. It might happen because the market share of Marvel manufacturer increased, so the others might be selling lesser cars. So this could be the right conclusion. This can be the conclusion that can be drawn. So, but we don't have to pick this. If the emission standards had not been imposed, Marvel Automobile Company would have lost an even larger share of the number of new cars sold in the Caliston than in fact it did. So what it says is, if the emission standards have not been imposed, okay, so Marvel Automobile Company would have lost even bigger. So Marvel Company lost some share after the imposition. So it says it might have lost even bigger share. Now, how could it have lost bigger share? So maybe the Marvel company, this manufacturer, was producing cars which were fit for the new emission standard, let's say. So if new emission standards have not been set, so it might have lost more. So this again could have happened, okay, out. A decrease in the total monthly sale of the new car within Calistan will occur if the emission standards remain in fact. Now, this could also happen because it doesn't say that the market will remain, the total market size will remain same. It doesn't say that. Since the imposition of the emission standards, Marvel Automobile Company's average profit on each doesn't talk about profit.